Prelude was only the beginning of Whiplash %, and though it was a challenge, it pales in comparison to Act 1. This is where I discovered the real theme at the core of this challenge. Those who undergo Whiplash % have put themselves in such a position where they are stripped of every advantage they have. Thus, we have to create our own advantages. Whiplash only is not just about suffering from room to room, it is about strategy, cunningness, and breaking the damn game. Limbo serves as a tutorial for this, and the lessons I learned in this layer helped me throughout the entirety of Act 1, and it will likely help me once I get to Act 2 and 3. If you haven't watched the Prelude video, I highly recommend doing so in order to get a full idea of the rules of this challenge. Before we get into this, however, I would like to take a moment to thank everyone so much for the support on the Prelude video. I honestly did not expect it to blow up in the way that it did, and I am so thankful for all the kind words I received in the comments. I would also like to thank everyone so much for subscribing, as I went from 9 subs to nearly 500 in the matter of only a few days. If you want to support me, please consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video, as it would really help me out. And one more thing before we get into Act 1. I've received a few new strategies for Prelude that I would like to go over. Qurturt taught me how to skip the Maurice fight in 0-1 using a false exit, and although I'm not entirely sure whether to allow this in a full run, it is nonetheless a useful strategy. To do so, you must clip out as usual, but instead of loading the checkpoint, land on top of the boss door, then make your way under it to load in the level exit and finish the level by touching the bottom. Spectre, who I will mention again later, also discovered a way to trivialize the Source Machine fight in 0-3 by getting Source Machine stuck in the exit door. Once he's stuck, you're able to easily deal damage from afar, and if he manages to get unstuck, all you have to do is get him stuck once more. Thank you to qurturt and Spectre for your contributions. I'll leave the links to their channel in the description so that you can give them support. Now with that out of the way, let's hop into Limbo. The first arena in Heart of the Sunrise is where I met my greatest enemy in this challenge so far. Drones. I have never been a big fan of drones, as they tend to hide away from me when I'm running heat %, but in Whiplash %, they become less of an annoyance and more of a legitimate obstacle. Drones only have 2 health, but in Whiplash %, that translates to 10 hits. That wouldn't be so bad if not for the fact that these fuckers tend to spawn in packs, dodge your Whiplash, move too much to heal off of, and crash into you when they die. You can deal with these guys by whipping and dodging their bullets, but this can present some difficulty as you may be injured and find yourself unable to recover until you whip a drone, it dies and crashes into you, guided towards you since it's stuck on your Whiplash. So I very quickly learned to devise a strategy. This arena is filled with pillars, which you can use to take cover from bullets. When drones make their way behind you, you can tell that when they're about to fire by a sound cue, giving you the opportunity to reposition yourself. After this arena is a spree of skippable encounters, so unless you want to suffer, make your way to the final room. This room is small and filled to the brim with enemies, first in the form of strays and schisms, then in the form of drones, so it is paramount that we don't go into this with the mindset of brute force. This room has a pillar in each corner, and a small flower bed in its center. The plan is simple. These pillars leave a small gap between the pillar base and this small ledge, giving you a protected spot to deal with enemies. From here, you can take out the nearby strays. Meanwhile, the enemies from across the room walk across the flower bed, where they enter a glitch state where they act like they're falling, allowing us to easily pick them off one by one. Once the drones spawn, return to the safe spot behind the pillar, and you will most likely be able to take care of the drones like it's nothing. The Burning World is yet another level that we can skip most of. Make your way around the enemies in the first room and enter the first locked arena. A wave of filth will spawn, but by sticking up high, preferably in a corner, you can cause the filth to huddle together, and you can easily jump on them to stay above them while you take them out. After this, schisms and a couple of drones will spawn, which you can deal with by taking advantage of the secret space above the arena. Bring one up at a time, whip them while in the air so that they don't get the chance to attack, rinse, and repeat. If a drone makes its way up there with you, Don't panic, as this can actually be used as an asset since it gives you the chance to use friendly fire to deal more damage. Once the schisms are done with, the drones are easy to deal with since there are only 2 of them. Next, grab the blue skull, make your way outside, whiplash to grab the red skull, and enter the red skull door. If enemies are giving you trouble here, you can checkpoint after grabbing the red skull. In the final arena, I opted to jump up immediately and whiplash the strays to drop them to the bottom of the arena. In doing so, it was also brought to my attention that this arena is tall enough to splatter, so deal with the strays first, one at a time, splattering them if you can, and be careful not to be hit by those at the ground level. Once the strays are dealt with, you can use a similar strategy for the street cleaners. They will dodge your whiplash, but during their dodge animation, you can whip again in order to grab them. If you're having trouble positioning yourself so that you can easily whip the enemies, you can hold down Q to open your weapon wheel, which slows time, allowing for you to easily position yourself near ledges. The next wave of enemies consists of street cleaners and drones. Deal with the drones first, whipping it and doing your best to dodge their projectiles. Then the street cleaners are dealt with in the same way as before. The plan for this level is relatively straightforward, but it could definitely be a struggle to execute at times. The Hall of Sacred Remains is where I may face a bit of controversy. The hideous mass in its boss form has 175 health, meaning that it would take 875 whips to fight normally. That is a lot, and this challenge is about taking every advantage we get, so I opted to allow slope when applicable. That may seem cheap, but there are only 2 levels where this applies, and trust me, I spent enough time in other levels to justify wanting to spare myself and anyone else who attempts this challenge a little sanity. The route for this level involves taking the shortcut to the blue skull room, whiplashing the skull as you fall, if you're capable, placing down the skull, going to the room with the soap, making your way up. I opted to whiplash and jump off of a schism in order to grab the soap. Then just head to the exit. Easy kill. Clear to Lune is the final level of Limbo, and where the challenge of whiplash percent finally presents itself in its entirety, unless of course you break the game. Credits to Spectre again for finding this clip, which I personally cannot pull off, nor can I fully explain, but by taking advantage of Limbo up warp, you're able to beat V2 without a problem. This strat is viable if you prefer to do it this way, as it does fully fall into the theme of taking whatever advantage we can get. But in a full run of whiplash percent, I have not yet decided if this would be allowed. You see, I want to abide as closely to the speedrun.com rule set for full game runs as I can, but this would mean that Limbo up warp is banned due to its FPS dependent nature. For now, though, learn this clip at your own discretion. If, however, you're unable to pull it off, or you just rather to not use the strat, you can fight V2 like I did. V2 is an interesting fight since usually she would have the same loadout as V1. She is intended to be a wake-up call to the average player, the first real challenge. And though she doesn't quite hold the same role as she does in the base game, she certainly does hold the moniker of the first real challenge. V2 is fast, so if you haven't gotten used to Whiplash yet, you'll have to here. She has 4 relevant attacks, a spree of 3 shots with a revolver, a piercer shot, a shotgun blast, and a core eject. If you're inexperienced at fighting V2, I suggest fighting V2 normally before going into this so that you can get a feel of her attacks, because you need to understand how to dodge each and every one of these attacks effectively if you wish to make it through this battle. The strategy for V2 is simple. We primarily want to ensure that V2 is using her shotgun throughout the battle, since this is, at least to me, the easiest attack to dodge. This means that we have to stay as close to V2 as we can throughout the fight. This gives us a couple of advantages. Being close means that it is far easier to consistently whip V2. The dash window to dodge the shotgun is far wider since we can dash directly through V2, and if V2 does a core eject, we can bait her into bombing herself for a large chunk of damage. This fight serves to emphasize the impact of being unable to parry, and teaches us valuable lessons about learning boss attack patterns and preserving our stamina as much as possible to dodge effectively. We cannot brute force bosses like we can in the base game, so we must strategize and pay close attention at all times. This lesson will be important to have learned for once we make it to Gabriel. Oh my god. I did it. Holy shit. Lust is essentially the epitome of breaking the game or getting around levels at whatever opportunity possible. And for Bridgeburner, I'll let the footage explain itself. For me, death at 20,000 volts was essentially just maneuvering around enemies as I failed to whiplash the electrical boxes amidst my panic. The only real thing of note is skipping the rail cannon. To do so, all you have to do is get slam storage and jump around this structure. Then, upon opening this door, you'll load into the final room. Sheer Heart Attack is a level where we actually have to fight enemies. Well, in the final arena, we have to fight enemies. To get to the final arena, we take advantage of how broken Lust's doors are by entering the room with the red podium, and using our weapon wheel and sliding to clip out of bounds. From here, we can dash to this wall and hit the checkpoint in the final arena. I recommend targeting the Mind Flayer so that you can damage it using friendly fire. The Mind Flayer has 30 health, meaning that it would take 150 whips to kill without friendly fire. All of its attacks can easily be dodged by dashing at the right time. Once the Mind Flayer is dead, be careful not to die, since that would be very frustrating. I stood on top of the hunt in order to control what enemies I was actually fighting and when, as taking enemies on one at a time is far easier than dodging bullets while fighting. Court of the Corpse King is interesting. I'm gonna skip straight to the boss for now, and we'll come back to the start of the level in a moment. When I first attempted Court of the Corpse King, I found out that the first phase is very easy, but the second phase, however, is not. The combination of homing orbs and black holes makes mistakes very fatal. Meanwhile, you're trying to get through the fight as quickly as possible since the Corpse King has 160 health, meaning that it would take 800 whips to kill, which is 400 per phase. Dying in the second phase means investing a lot of time into getting back to the second phase. I was fed up with it, so I started experimenting. I'm not getting into the details of how I figured this out, but I will walk you through how to beat Corpse King without worrying about dying. When you start the level, make your way to the blue skull and put it onto its podium. Do not go through the door that opens, however. Make your way back to the start of the level and go on top of the entrance door, and from here, you're going to slide out of bounds, spamming slide as you fall. Use slam storage to dive all the way over to this wall near the checkpoint, then use slam storage again to dive towards the checkpoint. Once you load the checkpoint, you want to go grab the red skull and place it on its podium from this position so that you're out of bounds. Now, you want to get on top of this small segment of the hallway, gain slam storage, and dive towards the hallway across the void. Near the entrance to this hallway, you should hit a checkpoint, load the checkpoint, then make your way towards the start of this level to clip out of bounds once more. You're going to want to go to the same wall as earlier and dive to get to the back of the arena to spawn the Corpse King. Now, you'll be fighting King Minos from out of bounds, but that alone wouldn't help. What does help, however, is this. The damage that you deal to King Minos persists even after dying or reloading a checkpoint. Now, after dying, all you have to do is make your way back to Minos and resume dealing damage. This reduces the amount of time that you have to whiplash Minos from potentially thousands because of death to a mere 800. Once he's dead, you can either hover around his head in order to get teleported back into the center of the boss arena, or you can just slide down the exit to the level to get a false exit. The first option is recommended for the sake of a full run. Gluttony is hell in a handbasket. I spent a fucking day on Belly of the Beast, and it's all because of the final arena. Getting there is easy. Slide your way through this cavity, and cling to the wall, jump up on the steam so you can stand for a moment and jump up to the top of the room. Obtain slam storage and dive to the final room. Now, I'm telling you this with the gift of hindsight. I have attempted to fight these drones many times, but the easiest way to deal with them is to submerge yourself in the acid for a few seconds and let them follow. This should take care of most, if not all of them. Then, you can actually use the filth to heal. Fighting the Mind Flayer is similar to in 2-3, but this time, it is much harder since there is way less open space to stand and dodge. I use the schisms for friendly fire. Once the Mind Flayer is taken care of, hope to God that you do not fumble. Dying here would be tragic. Take care of the enemies up top and deal with the rest one at a time. Fuck this level. And it only took 4 minutes.
You did.
It in fact did not only take 4 minutes. Yippee. Editor's note. So, ignore my weapons. I haven't done Whiplash % in a few days. But this was brought to my attention by Suguru after I'd already finished my Gabriel route.
Turn back.
And this is the way to essentially skip the Gabriel fight if you so desire to do so, right? I have Fulbright on for the sake of the example, but this was brought to my attention by Suguru, and it's very interesting. Suguru told me, ignore that. So if Gabriel spawns, it's bad because, well, it'll be annoying. So you're actually able to get over there, because there's no invisible wall right here stopping you from doing so. You can get slam storage on this wall and then perform a dive to get up. And then over here, you're able to spawn in Gabriel. And down here, there's a little platform you can stand on. You can get slam storage here and then do a dive up. For the example, I no-clipped back, but you actually have to load in this room for the hazard point. Now, I get slam storage right here and then dive up. So now you're here, right? Uh-oh. So we're back. So once you're over here, if he does that, go over the void. Aw, damn it, I wasn't low enough. You're able to kill him immediately using the hazard point in this room. That was incredibly hard to actually execute with him after me. I am on violent though, to be fair. But now he's dead. So all you have to do is make it back. I opt to use this clip, but there are other ways to actually get back through invisible walls. This is my favorite way though. And voila! Gabriel's done. Easily, no effort. Now onto my routing before I knew this existed. In the Flesh is the one and only instance where I was not able to beat a level on Violent. The reason for this is that in Gabriel's second phase, he spawns a ring of knives that makes using the Whiplash rather difficult since ideally you want to be up close. I had a hard time with Gabriel, but not as hard as my friend Valence.
Pokemon, if you give me shiny right now, I will oil up and my Gabriel pound me. Don't put that in the video.
Anywho, similarly to V2, you largely benefit in this battle from knowing Gabriel's attack patterns. And when and when the proper timing is to dash in order to dodge the different attacks. Gabriel taunts every few moves, every 4 moves on Violent, and every 3 moves on Standard, and this presents a safe opportunity to get a good 5 or so whips in between attack sprees. If you're careful, you can also whip Gabriel while he's attacking, but do this at your own discretion. You can also use Gabriel's spear attack in order to make him damage himself, and this can deal a large chunk of damage. That's genuinely all there is to it. Not much else I can say. Gabriel took a large portion of a day, but that was mostly just user error. I attempted to drop him into the pit in the second phase for big damage, but I couldn't get that strat to work. Gabriel has 50 health in each phase, 250 whips each, for a total of 100 health or 500 whips. And I'm sharing brain cells to be smarter, but it makes me smarter. I win.
Oh my god, oh my god,
What?
he won.
How
There's no way
can this be?
He won.
Bested by this.
But he won.
This.
That's what he did.
You insignificant fuck!
You insignificant fuck!
You said the word.
May your woes be many, and your days.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to thank everyone so much again for the support over the last few days. I like genuinely did not expect to blow up so much. Like, I was hoping that with my Prelude video that I would get like a few viewers, like maybe 100 at most, and a few subscribers from it. But like, it's gone way out of proportion. I could have never expected so much from one video. And all of the kind words in the comments genuinely mean the world to me, because I didn't even think that the video was that good. I just thought it was a decent idea. It means the world to me to see people enjoying my content so much, and it makes me really want to work hard to produce more of it. I don't know when I'll get the Act 2 video out, but I'm hoping that I'm able to start working on it soon. But once again, I have to read 2 books before school starts, and there's 2 weeks as of recording this from now. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe so that I can produce more content. And once again, have a good day, night, and life.